What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to scrape Google Maps automatically by creating a simple workflow in Anychan. Let's get started. I've created a workflow that I've renamed to Google Maps Scraper. And here, we're going to add the first step, which will be our trigger. I'm going to choose the manual trigger over here. Now, to scrape Google Maps, I'm going to use this tool called Apify. Apify is an incredible tool that you can use to scrape any website and automate projects. To get 30% off your first subscription to this tool, just use the link in the description to sign up and create your account. And after creating your account, head over to Apify store. Here, we're going to search for the tool that we're going to use to scrape Google Maps. So I'll search for Google Maps right here. Let's click on search. And then we're going to use this tool right here to scrape Google Maps. So I'll open this tool on a new tab. This is the tool that we're going to use to scrape Google Maps. All we have to do is add a search term right here, the location we would like to scrape the leads, and the number of leads I would like to scrape right here. You can also add the language over here. You can also perform a filter over here by adding the place category. You can also get the exact name matches, set a minimum star rating, or scrape places with or without a website. Here we can also add additional place details we would like to scrape. Here you can also scrape reviews or images. Here you can also scrape leads using geolocation parameters. You can also scrape leads using the Google Maps URL instead of a search term right here. You can also scrape places without search terms or URLs here. Now, I'm going to instead use a search term. In our case, I'm going to use restaurant as our search term. I would like to scrape 10 restaurants in New York over here. So to do that, I'll click on start over here. You can see our work is getting our data. Let's give it a second for it to complete scraping our leads for us. Here, you can see our tool succeeded in scraping the 10 leads for us. Over here, got a total of 10 leads. And we got the place name, the total score, reviews count, the street, the city, the stage, and the country code, their website, phone number, category name, and their Google Maps URL over here. Now, instead of scraping the leads manually, right here in Apify, we can create a workflow that scrapes the leads for us. To do that, here, I'll search for Apify and click on Apify. Here, you'll need to install it first if you haven't installed it yet. Then after installing it, click on Run an Actor node right here. Here, you'll need to create a credential by clicking on Create a New Credential. And here, click on Connect My Account. Then on the new window that pops up, choose the account that you'd like to connect to Anychan. Then your connection will be created. Since I had already done that, I'm going to close this right here. And then here, I'm going to run an actor and choose a recently used actor over here. I'm going to choose the Google Maps scraper. And then here, we're going to add our JSON. To get our JSON, I'll go back to our tool and click on our tool right here. Then which is manual in JSON, click on JSON. And here, I'll copy this JSON. And then I'll go back to our tool right here. And then I'll click on expression to add our JSON. So I'll paste our JSON right here. So we like to scrape 10 restaurants in this specific location right here in Anychan. So to do that, I'll click on execute step over here. You can see it's executing our node. Here, you can see our node was executed successfully and the status was a success. And here, when we scroll over here, we got our default dataset ID. So here, I'll search for Apify again. Then click on Apify. Then here, I'll click on the Get Dataset Items node. Then here, we're going to map our dataset ID to get our restaurants that we just scraped using our workflow. And then after mapping our dataset ID, I'll click on Execute step right here to get our leads. You can see we got our 10 leads right here, or 10 restaurants. Now when I click on table, you can see the restaurants that we scraped over here using our workflow. So all these restaurants. Now here, when I open this node, here, we can see we are manually adding our search term right here, the location and the number of leads I would like to scrape. We can also automate this part by adding our search term, location, and the number of leads I would like to scrape in a spreadsheet. In Google Sheets, I've created a spreadsheet that I've renamed to Google Maps Scraper. And in this spreadsheet, I've created a sheet that I've renamed to Search Term. And this is the sheet that we're going to add our search term, number of leads that we like to scrape, and the location. So in our case, I've added the restaurants as our search term, number of leads we like to scrape, only 10 leads, and the location right here. To get this sheet, I'm going to unlink this over here. Then here I'm going to search for Google Sheets. Then here I'll click on Google Sheets. Then I'll click on Get Rows in Sheet Node. Here, you'll need to create a new credential. Here, you'll click on Sign in with Google. And then on the new window that pops up, choose the account that you'd like to connect to N10, and your credential will be created. Since I had already done that, I'm going to close this right here and choose our document over here. Our document is a Google Maps scraper. And then here I'm going to choose our sheet, which is a search term sheet. Then here I'll click on Execute Step to get our data. So here we're getting the search term, number of leads I would like to scrape, and the location. Now, yeah, I'll connect it over here. Time to align it. And then now, when you open this node, instead of manually inputting our search term, we can map it over here with the data that we added to our spreadsheet. Same with location. Going to map it here. And the number of leads I would like to scrape. Going to map the number of leads over here. So now let us try scraping our leads. So to do that, I'll click on Execute Workflow right here. You can see that our workflow was executed successfully. So here, got our search term, number of leads I would like to scrape, and then location of the leads. And using this node, we succeeded in scraping the leads. We are here, we got the dataset ID. Then using the dataset ID, we got our leads over here. We got a total of 10 leads over here that we scraped from our location. And these are the total other 10 leads that we scraped over here. So here, I'll rename this node to search term. Then click on rename. And here I'm going to rename this to Google Maps Scraper. Click on rename. And then here I'll rename this to get Google Maps data. And then here I'll click on rename. We can proceed to add our leads to our spreadsheet. So in our spreadsheet, I've also created another sheet that I've renamed to local business data. Here's where we're going to add our leads data. So here we're going to add the website, the name, phone number, category name, the description, and their Google Maps URL. So to add our leads data to this spreadsheet, now workflow, I'm going to search for Google Sheets again and click on Google Sheets. And here I'll click on Append Row in Sheet. Here I'm going to find our document, which is this document. Our sheet this time around is going to be the local business data. And then here, we're going to map values to our columns in our spreadsheet with the data that we scraped using Apify. So for the website, we're going to map the website right here. The name, we're going to map the name over here. Phone number, we're going to add the unformatted phone number. Category name, I'm going to map it right here. For the description, I'm going to search for description here. And then here we're going to map the description. Same with the URL, I'm going to search for URL. And then I'll map the URL over here. And then now, yeah, I'll click on Execute Step to add the leads data to our spreadsheet. You can see our node was executed successfully. You can see we added our leads data right here. So we added their website, the name, phone number, category name, description, and their Google Maps URL over here. Using this workflow that we created right here in N10. Yeah, I'll rename this node to Google Maps data. And then here I'll click on rename. So our workflow works perfectly. Here we're getting a search term that we added to a spreadsheet over here. So we added the search term, number of leads that we like to scrape, and the location that we like to scrape the leads. Then with the data, we are scraping the leads from Google Maps using this node, using this tool in Apify. Then using this node, we're getting our data that we just scraped using this tool. Then we're adding our data to our spreadsheet over here in this sheet, in our local business data sheet, where we're adding their website, the name, phone number, category name, the description, and the Google Maps URL over here. using this workflow that we created right here in N8N. Seeing our workflow, so we can see how it works. In our search terms sheet, I've added two search terms right here. So I've added lawyers and accountants, and we like to scrape for each search term 10 leads, and the location is New York and Miami. Now to scrape the leads and add them to our spreadsheet right here, I'll first of all clear these spreadsheet. So I'll delete the rows so we can add new data to our sheet. To scrape the leads using these two search terms, yeah, I'll click on execute workflow. Here you can see that our workflow was executed successfully. Here we got our search terms over here, which was lawyers and accountants. And then for each search term, we scrape 10 leads. Then we got the location over here. Then using the data, we scrape the leads over here and got the leads over here. Then with the leads, we added them to our spreadsheet over here. Now, when I open our spreadsheet, you can see the data that we scraped using our workflow and added over here. So here we added the lawyers and the accountant's website, the names, phone number, category name, and their Google Maps URL. None of them had their descriptions available. So using these search terms, we scraped these leads data from Google Maps and added the data to this spreadsheet using the simple workflow that we created right here in N8N. So our workflow works perfectly. Now, if you'd like me to create this workflow for you or a workflow similar to this one, just click the first link in the description to schedule a call with me. On the call, we'll discuss into details the workflow that you'd like me to create for you, and then I'll proceed to create the workflow for you. But if you enjoyed this video and you have a workflow or an AI agent in mind that you'd like me to create using N8N, just comment down below in the comment section. I read all the comments, and if I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to create the entire workflow or AI agent from scratch using N8N. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.